meetings have been just like, not been actual people here to watch, talk to. Bring it up, the agenda, I forgot to print it out. Ready to go? I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Sylva Planning Board meeting. Today is what's today? Today's the 27th, all day long. Call the meeting to order. First things first, go over, everybody had a chance to look at last meetings, and we didn't have a quorum last meeting, but we went over a few things, mainly for to talk about review, and then we looked over the sidewalk thing and just reviewed that. Anybody have any questions, comments on that stuff?
No.
Discussion? Awesome. Do we have a quorum? Or do we need
Yes,
to like, take a vote on that?
We have a quorum.
Okay.
Yes, I need a motion to approve.
Yeah,
February
can I get a
minutes.
motion to approve the February minutes?
I motion to approve the February minutes.
All in favor? Yeah. All right, so they're approved. Awesome. Next on our agenda. I was trying to pull up the whole packet, but if you want to pull up, so I'll just pull up the.
Here, you can have the front one.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I can pull up the agenda. We have a new business or public comments. Anybody have any public comments? Somebody signed up? Okay. Awesome. I got that. New business. We've got a zoning, a map amendment request from CJ Properties. And our main man here is gonna talk to us about it. John.
Good evening, board. For the audience, my name is John Lesky. I'm the senior planner for Jackson County. The town and county have an interlocal agreement where we are their zoning and planning staff. So I reviewed the application for this map amendment, and I'll present that to you now. This is a map amendment request for CJ Properties. Edward and Brianne Hudak are representing that as prospective buyers. They're here this evening. The property location is at 414 Skyland Drive, and the PIN numbers are 7642-417128 and 7642-511400. The main property is the highlighted blue property here, and then the adjacent property here is also included in that. The current zoning of the property is general business. That's the red that you see. That's the general business district. It's in that district. The ordinance section for which the text amendment is requested is Article 3, procedures, section, specifically section 3.9.b, which is zoning and map amendments. And what that is basically the request is to take these properties and put them in a different district. That's what the request is. The other map amendment that will change the subject properties from the general business district to the professional business district. Professional business district being the purple district, which is located right here. The representative for the applicant would like to operate a private school on the subject property, which is not an allowed use in the general business district. However, schools are permitted in the professional business district. So the idea is to move it to the professional business district to allow for that use, and we'll discuss that here in just a minute in a little more detail. The background is the property for this school use is located at 414 Skyland Drive, currently spoken on fitness. If you're familiar with that, so the fitness club here, that building right there, with access directly from Skyland Drive. And there's a driveway that comes up, it swings around and gets up to that. The total property land area is 13.93 acres. Again, that's the both properties total, with existing structures housing the fitness and pool activities and an accessory storage building property, which is right here. The properties to the east are in the institutional district, which is the purple, right, actually right here. Which is the blue, and to the, sorry, what's my place? Institutional properties to the south are in the high density residential district, and properties to the west are in the business district. So general business here across Skyland Drive, and then high density residential would be the orange color. If required by the town zoning ordinance, property improvements in this district of professional business are subject to development standards set forth, including building setbacks, landscaping, architectural standards, sidewalk construction, parking, stormwater treatment, etc. Tuckasegee Water and Sewer Authority for water and sewer, and Duke Power will provide public utilities, and Sylva Fire Department will provide fire safety services. The additional responses to this is the applicant is requesting that the existing town of Sylva zoning map be amended to designate both properties, both those pins, as professional business. So again, as far as looking at this map, these properties going from red to the purple, which would make it a professional designation for that. So going one step further, the requested map amendment would not constitute spot zoning, and that's important to know that spot zoning is in North Carolina is frowned upon. What that means is you don't want to get a property and say, okay, this property right here, that's residential, I want to make that industrial. And it's a donut hole around all the other properties around it are totally different. And there's no buffer zone, there's no into that type of district versus what's around it. And that would be spot zoning because nothing else is around it that's like that. So what we're looking at here is the amendment to go to professional business. And in accordance with the town's adopted land use plan of 2040, the plan establishes that these properties, two that we've been talking about tonight, as well as the entire professional business district. So remember that purple district that we were looking at earlier will be in the future Skyland mixed use corridor district. The encouraged land uses for this future district include mixed use development, residential, live work, multifamily, townhomes, small single family lots, neighborhood commercial, small scale restaurants, breweries, small scale hotels, civic and educational uses that support community residents. So as we move to the future, this district is going to change. The professional business district is going to be currently what its name is the Skyland Mixed Use Corridor. So all of this right here, the green that you're seeing, the two properties, subject properties tonight are these two right here. This is the current Cross Skyland Drive right here. This is the current professional business district. So the professional business district, these change the name, all of these properties get picked up and put into that district, which will be the future Skyland mixed use corridor district. So when you have a land use plan that's adopted, this is a guidance tool, it's not a regulatory tool. It's to help, and it's required by state statute, to help the town move in a direction of future growth, future planning, and what they plan on doing. This is a step in that direction because we're taking properties that are destined to be in this district in the future and moving them to the professional business district, which it will ultimately become part of that. So that's the request, is to, again, move these two properties to the professional business district. And
So
then,
it's gonna be that eventually anyway, so
That's right.
that's just a.
and then eventually this is what we would be looking at currently, unless the land use plan changes, and it can be amended in the future by the board. But that's what we're looking at. That's our guidance currently. Any questions?
What was the total acreage?
13 something.
I'm sorry.
Total acreage.
Oh, it was 13.93.
Thank you.
Can the board ask questions to the folks who are presenting this?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
How big is your school going to be? What's your plans for that?
Sure, do you want me to just kind of speak up to you guys?
Yep, thank you.
No problem. So good afternoon. My name is Breanne Hudak, and I am a former principal. We moved here recently from Charleston, South Carolina. I was a former K-12 principal there, currently working as an adjunct professor at WCU and as an educational consultant. And we are dreaming and planning for what we are calling a private micro school that meets the needs of the gifted and talented and high ability students here in Jackson County and beyond. So I can just read you a description of the business to help you gain a better understanding. Okay, so the school will be called Journey's School for the Gifted and Talented, and it's an independent brick and mortar school. It's going to serve 60 students from grades K through 8 at full capacity. And the micro school environment, that's the word in education just for a small private school, is an intentional setup that's going to allow students to be appropriately recognized and holistically developed through meaningful connections and relationships between their peers and with experts familiar with the nature and needs of this population. And at Journey School, exceptional learners are going to receive personalized learning plans that meet their unique needs, and they will evolve with them as they move throughout their academic journey. These plans provide opportunities for excellence, and they foster a supportive system that promotes critical and creative thinking. Those are top priorities. As a K through 8 institution, students will have the opportunity to fully develop and embrace their gifts and talents, become part of the Journeys family and the family of Jackson County, and make a positive impact in the community and beyond. Journey School for the Gifted and Talented understands that gifted, or also known as high ability learners, are very unique, creative, and inquisitive individuals that want to feel recognized and understood. And when their needs are met, nothing will stop them from becoming successful members of society and inspirational leaders of tomorrow. So that's kind of a brief description of the school to provide you all with a better understanding of what this rezoning approval for 414 Skyland Drive would bring to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I'm sorry, I'm Larry Tyson. I forgot to
Nice to
introduce
meet you.
myself. Nice to meet you. This is probably not have anything to do with property, but what's the process for starting the school through the North Carolina Board of Education? Is this going to be a charter school?
No, this is not public. This is a private school. So you have to be accredited with the North Carolina Association of Independent or Private Schools. And you have to go through their certification, their credentials, everything that they need you to do to make yourself up.
This is a tuition fed
Correct.
program, right?
Tuition based.
And what do you think as owners of this school will be the impact just on the main road going through Skyline Drive, just with traffic and all of that?
But we've kind of talked about it before. What was,
We're talking a maximum of 60 students. for
Right.
full enrollment. Would be, we could stagger drop off and pick up to make it where it's, 15 kids at a time.
So there'll be no buses, I'm assuming.
Correct. No buses at all. And, it's currently a fitness center and we've been there every time we've seen the building. There's people coming in and out all the time. I think currently there's more traffic.
And then their process of doing everything, getting permit to wherever they move to, the building, they'll have to go through NCDOT to get a driveway permit and in that department do a study for them,
correct.
for the business and whatnot. So that's a thing that's required by North Carolina Department of Transportation when they do a permit access to kind of count the roads and stuff like that too.
if it comes to fruition, when do you expect to enter your first students?
So we'd open doors August of 2024. Yeah, we would like it, as far as impacting the county and the community and beyond, we're looking at meeting about 15 to 20 employees. You know, again, 60 students, and then partnering with the community and just seeing the opportunities arise for students, both academically and social emotionally. I think it's a great fit for this area. We actually live in Franklin, but we're very excited when this property became available in Jackson County here in Sylva, because we felt like this area is growing and developing, and we can meet the needs of the families, especially being close to WCU.
So my last question probably,
Fine.
in what ways do you see partners with the community of Sylva? What have you brainstormed or thought about down the road?
Mentorships, community service, summer camps, outreach with the college, family and community get-togethers, just making it a very community-based. That's the heart of it, is we want this to be a proud representation of what Jackson County and Sylva have to offer.
That's the existing.
Yeah, it's getting built in. That'll be the playground.
Do you ever see more than 50 students? Because that is quite a large property for, you know, such a small amount.
Are you saying like growing and developing?
Right.
That would be a wonderful thing. Yes.
Yeah.
We would love to see that.
I know it's a hard site to.
It is, there's some challenges in this site, I mean.
And currently it has fitness trails and everything around it. We plan to develop it to like a outdoor amphitheater, outdoor classrooms, continue to use the hiking trails, the whole population. Biophilic, which is nature-based, kind of immerses children. Studies have shown that they test a lot better, even just using a wooden desk versus a plastic desk. So trying to give them the best chance to succeed.
It's the perfect setting here. It really is.
My only other question was, if this changes to a school, does that impact any of the other surrounding sites or zoning wise or anything?
Well, I don't know if I understand the question.
I don't know.
So if it changes to professional business district, anything that's allowed in professional business district would be allowed in that.
Okay,
Not just schools. It's that list that I read before. So
okay.
housing, kind of more less impactful commercial. It's kind of more of a transitional district between residential and general business. It's kind of in between where you're transitioning from from a lower impact to a higher, other than that. Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with the site, and I'm wondering what the roads and sidewalks existing now would need modification for to accommodate a school.
So the road is existing, it potentially could be improved. The sidewalk that I speak of is not on site, it would be down at Skyland Drive. Skyland Drive currently has, any day now, we should be starting a sidewalk down there in that area, so there will be sidewalk sections across the road from this entrance.
It'll have to be like school limit, speed limit reduction and all
Well,
that kind of stuff.
that'll be a conversation with DOT.
Yeah,
The building is quite a ways back from the entrance off of Skyland. It goes up along the hill, maybe a 1/10 of a mile.
Yeah, they're quite a bit off.
oh, okay.
You gotta do this to see it as you drop it.
You don't even know that that
Yeah,
building
goes
is
to
there. Several hundred feet going up the hill there.
Enough road from Skyland to the building to put all supercars to pick up and drop off. Keep them off Skyland.
Staff wise, this meets it's not a spot zoning because it meets our 2040 land use plan. So then we're not breaking any, we're not doing anything outside of what they.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're moving in the direction.
What we signed off, when the board is, county commissioners have signed off. Awesome.
keeping us from making them professional business now? If that's the future direction for this corridor, what? Are we waiting for a complete redo of our zoning map with consultants and such? Yeah, okay. And then it will probably.
Yeah, and it may not be that ripping off a Band-Aid and everything changing at once. It may be these certain districts move into that gradually, but yeah, that's.
We made it professional, there's not that much spot. If we didn't have the 2040 land use plan already.
That's correct.
Yeah, it looks kind of spotty without that.
Do you have? Well, I'm an adjacent landowner. My name's Cliff Stannis. We live in East Sylva, which is a place actually that I found out. So if I may point to your visual aid here. So my wife and I purchased on East Sylva Circle here. We purchased a property and then we purchased a second property and then we purchased a property up here on Regal. So we got the notification for the public hearing. So we heard the street talk is they were going to put in a big residential development and they were going to cut through and put in a driveway and access to East Sylva Circle, which is kind of why I'm here to find out what's going on. I mean, we're talking about this huge property here and we abut those trails on the backside. I personally don't have any problem with it at this point. My concern is the traffic on Skyland Drive. It's a speedway. I mean, our local cops are out sitting, which is fantastic. They're putting in new sidewalks, which is great. I mean, and there's a lot less traffic now that the road's closed, which is pretty cool too. And I don't know, they're talking about getting everything off of Skyland Drive, but without having a school zone or a slow down or something, school area. So I'm just kind of here trying to gather information of what's going on in the community.
Right. And at this point in this meeting, that is not something that we will determine or decide.
Yeah.
That is something that will come from later on when they submit a plan, submit any information of what they're trying to do and what they, going through their whole process of building and permitting. They'll have to move back through John's department and other that stuff.
Yeah, so what'll happen is this is just a rezoning effort. So what happens is there's a if that happens, they move forward with their plan, they would submit their future land plan to me, and I would apply the zoning regulations to that use. And that would, we have parking schedule and, a whole thing that's typical in a form-based code. So that will be applied because they need to get a zoning permit before they operate. So we will coordinate those efforts as they move forward. If, everything goes smoothly on the rezoning effort. The crosswalk or any school zone would be a DOT coordinated effort, and then probably with the town public works as well. There was a potential buyer last year that was looking at that for some minor housing.
Okay.
Understand this, unless another adjacent property has a legal mechanism built in their deed that is also attached to you, they can't just build a road over your property.
We're not talking about over the property, we're access to East Sylva Circle, which is.
Unless they have legal access, ingress, egress, or regress to do that by law in their deed or in a plat, they can't do that. Nobody's just gonna do it.
Right.
It would have to come from.
Somebody could do it, but it could be illegal, is what I'm saying. So, but typically that does not happen in the area that'd be difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely hilly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anything else, board? Questions? Comments? Take a vote to approve or deny. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Moving on to our next item on our agenda. We have a zoning map amendment. Zoning map amendment request from Coop Properties, Solus Partners. For another zoning amendment. I'll let it over to John again.
So this next one, although similar, it's slightly different. Tell you that. The applicant is Coop Properties, LLC, Solstice Partners, LLC, Kathy Connors, a partner of that company, is here tonight, as a representative. The property location is on Savannah Drive, PIN number 7631661393. Property is, Savannah Drive right here. This is the intersection of West Main Street and Harold's grocery store is over in this area. Colonial Square, how convenient gas stations right here. The current zoning is the general business district and ETJ, so this property is in the general business ETJ district. The ordinance sections for review is Article 3, procedures, which is the conditional zoning section. Excuse me, and section 3.9.b, zoning and map amendments, and Article 4, section 4, conditional district. So we'll step through that here one by one. So the description of the request is that the applicant is requesting a map amendment to create a general business conditional district on the property identified as PIN number 7631661393 to allow for a multifamily residential development. The town board of commissioners may approve conditional districts through the legislative review process identified in Article 3, procedures, section 3.5, review process. So what that means is the one that we just looked at was actually taking a property and the district that it's in and changing it to where it would be a different district. The underlying district stays the same. And a conditional district overlay for this property only. So the property surrounding it are still in the general business district, just like this one would be. But this property would have a conditional district overlay, which means that it is specific. The approval is specific to this property and not the others around it. So whatever the application is, and if the board likes that and you make a recommendation for it, the conditional district could potentially be approved. And it's important because in the table of uses for general business, you can do multifamily, not as a use by right, but if you get a conditional district. So before, remember the old ordinance used to have something, we had special uses. So if you wanted to do a special use, you could do it in that district. You had to go through that long and arduous process. Get there. This is a little different. It's legislative now. So the conditional district is just an overlay. It's specific to this property, and they have to comply with the conditional district standards for multifamily on that property. So this proposed conditional district for multifamily residential development includes 3 two-story structures consisting of 8 one-bedroom units, 28 two-bedroom units, and 12 three-bedroom units for a total of 48 dwelling units. So these would be this is the property that we were just looking at. And then the 3 residential buildings for the multifamily building. Entrance over here on Savannah Drive. It also included on the property are amenities of community center with laundry and computer center in that building as well, and then playgrounds and a covered picnic shelter with tables and grills. So you've got the covered picnic shelter with grills, and you've got 2 play areas here adjacent to that. Background is that the property for this development is located on the south and west side of Savannah Drive and approximately 1,120 feet from the intersection with Main Street. South of the intersection there in 23 in Savannah. The area for the vacant property, this vacant property is 6.83 total acres, and this proposed complex would be developed on the entire tract. Public utilities will be provided by Tuckasegee Water and Sewer Authority for water and sewer, and Duke Power will provide power. This property will be served by the Sylva Fire Department, right-of-way access, and a 3-party encroachment agreement for the sidewalk will be required from NCDOT during the review and approval process. as Savannah Drive is a state road. So Savannah Drive here, are, as you know, our zoning ordinance would require sidewalk along this frontage here. And if you all have not been up there,